Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 14 of my TEW series. Now, there's some interesting things on tonight's show, or today's show, and I like the main event because the guys that we put up against the team of Sammy Back and Rocky Golden are not the usual type of team. They are mid-carders, but they do have a very bright future. Anyway, let's get into the show. We've got a pre-show match, big 3-on-3. We've got three main eventers, being the heel team, taking on three, I think they're all openers, being Bulldozer Brendan Smith and the Dynamite Express. But the match does pretty well, gets an 80B. In a decent pre-show match, Aaron Andrews, Brian Vesey and Wolf Hawkins defeated Bulldozer Brendan Smith and the Dynamite Express in 9:34, when Aaron Andrews defeated Bulldozer Brendan Smith by pinfall with a flying body press. And apparently Bulldozer has picked up a strained wrist, so that's not great. But we also have a couple of work improvements. Wolf Hawkins in performance and Bulldozer Brandon Smith in performance skills there as well. Alright, let's kick off the main show after that. Wow, Wolf was the cause of Brandon Smith's injury. That's interesting because, Wolf is a very good performer. Anyway, we start the show off with a 95 A-star promo. Pretty sure it's a Menace promo from both Peak and American Buffalo. Pretty good angle to start the show, to be honest. Their match against Danny Fonzarelli and Giant Tanner gets a 75 B-. In a decent match, Eddie Peak and American Buffalo defeated Danny Fonzarelli and Giant Tanner in 10:07. When Eddie Peak does defeat Giant Tanner by pinfall with a peak of perfection, and then apparently Eddie Peak was head and shoulders above everybody else. And we also have Giant Tanner being off his game. So I would say that's a pretty good rating, to be honest. Of course, Buffalo's not the best wrestler in the world. Obviously, Eddie Peak carried the match. But yeah, Danny Fonzarelli's not too great either. And Giant Tanner, he's pretty good, but he's also old and lacking in a few different statistics in terms of his attributes. We also have Eddie Peak improving in performance skills there as well, so perfect. Moving on to the next match, which gets a 71 C+. In a bout that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat, Mighty Mo defeated Rudy Velasquez in 9:48 by pinfall with a plunging spinebuster. Just trying to get Mighty Mo, some momentum for his international title match at the pay-per-view. We then go into a 68 C+ rated angle. Just Mighty Mo cutting a promo on Mark Speed, of course, continuing to try and build his popularity going into the pay-per-view, which will be in about just over a week's time. We then go into the next match, which gets a 61 C. In a bout that had decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Killer Shark defeated Bart Biggins in 8:24 by pinfall with a big bite. So yeah, really good to see that he can do 8-minute matches by himself now as well. Of course, he is pretty highly regarded in terms of one of the younger members of the roster, being Killer Shark. And of course, we got the message, I think it was either last episode or the episode before, I think it was Eddie Peak that was hyping him up a bit as a potential future star. Anyway, moving on to a 91A promo. Freestyle angle from Wolf Hawkins. And he says to Benny Benson that he learned exactly what it means to actually be a winner when he beat him last week. And he's offering him a rematch for the pay-per-view. So what we'll do is we'll get that pre-booked in. Obviously, not going to be turned down by Benny Benson by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, he'll want to, regain or try and regain some pride by beating Wolf Hawkins in a sort of reverse fixture or a reverse match, a rematch, of course. So yeah, there we go. Got that booked in. We've got 4 matches booked in now. Only the 1 tag match and, of course, the other 2 single title matches. Moving into a 75 B- rated match. Big 8-man tag. In a decent match, Joshua Taylor, Ricky Dale Johnson, Benny Benson, and Human Arsenal defeated Troy Tornado, Brent Hill, Freddie Huggins, and Joel Bryant in 9:47, when Joshua Taylor defeated Joel Bryant by submission with a butterfly lock. And we also had Human Arsenal being off his game there. Surprisingly, no worker improvements, although I would say most of these guys have probably reached their peak in terms of development. We then go into a 71C Plus New Wave promo. Of course, they are the #1 contenders for the World Tag Team titles. And yeah, of course, cutting it on the Behemoths, Killer Shark and Titan. Probably could have been a little bit better in terms of its rating, but a C plus is acceptable, I guess, at this point. We then move into their match, which gets a 76 B-. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. The New Wave defeated the Elite in 10:08 when Guy defeated Nate Johnson by pinfall with a wave of mutilation. Wow, lots of worker improvements here. We've got Scout improving in performance skills, and then we have Guide improving in Rumble, technical, and performance skills. So that's pretty good going into the pay-per-view. Moving on to the pre-main event angle, 73 B- for a trio promo. Of course, Aaron Andrews, he's sort of, taken a liking to New Legacy, being Jay Cord and Greg Gage. And they're the team that's going to be in the main event tonight, taking on arguably the two biggest face main eventers that we have at the moment. So, yeah, basically Aaron Andrews is saying, I want you to try and break Rocky Golden. I want you to try and injure him before the pay-per-view, essentially. The main event match itself gets a really good rating, 84 B+. I'm definitely happy with that, considering both members of New Legacy are only mid-carders. I think that's decent. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Rocky Golden and Sammy Back defeated New Legacy in 24:34 when Sammy Back defeated Greg Gage by pinfall with an adrenaline shot. And apparently J. Cole was off his game, so potentially could have even been higher than that rating. Good to see in-ring performance of 70 and 71 for both Greg Gage and J. Cord, respectively. We've got one more angle to go over, and that is a 100 A-star. Basically, it is Brian Vesey and Aaron Andrews running into the ring after the match. Of course, they went for 25 minutes, did Rocky and Sammy. So yeah, they run in, beat them down after they've started celebrating. And yeah, basically, the rematch is booked in. Sammy Back versus Brian Vesey for for essentially the final time with this storyline, I would imagine. Of course, one win apiece for each of them. And honestly, I'm looking forward to not only ending this storyline, but hopefully seeing it come to a head and seeing the proper fruition of a 3-month storyline, essentially. The overall show rating gets a 73 B-. Again, apparently we use Greg Gage far too much, and that might be because he dropped down after an auto push of the roster. So that's my bad, but again, that's not really going to affect the rating too much. It's going to be bad, sort of no matter what. Of course, we lose popularity in the 11 regions of the USA and gain popularity in the 7 regions of Canada. I was pretty happy with that TV show there. I think it was decent. Of course, we've got one more TV show before the next pay-per-view, the Go Home show. Yeah, at the moment I'm trying to sign Mainstream Hernandez, or Jimmy Hernandez, from SWF. He's only 30 years old, and of course he's pretty decent. He's not that over at the moment, but if you look at his skills and abilities here, his attributes, he looks pretty good. Really good basics, good psychology. Obviously, he's a pretty good wrestler in terms of his top row. 88 star quality. He could potentially be a possibility for our next figurehead if we do manage to sign him. Obviously, the star quality needs to go up a little bit. And, of course, he needs to become a lot more over. Sort of need to get that to an A, I would say, in those regions. But I like the look of him. And of course, he's a former member of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. So he would also have a a bit of a connection with Jay Cord, potentially. Let's have a look at Bulldozer Brennan Smith's injury. Okay, so he's currently working through the strained wrist, which is good to see. And wow, we've gotten a much better TV rating. 7.01 for Total Wrestling. Good stuff. Much higher than it has been recently. I don't really think there's anything else to go over, guys. So I will see you on the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you could drop a like on the video. Leave a comment down below if you're enjoying this series. Of course, you know, this series has been going for a little while now. And honestly, like, I'm pretty happy with how well it's done. Considering I haven't played TEW, or even, sorry, I haven't recorded. I've played TEW slightly since the New York City Wrestling series, but overall, I haven't uploaded any videos TEW related in about nearly, I would say 2.5, nearly 3 years. Probably about 2.5. And yeah, the response has been great. You know, episode 1 really took off, even though it was a bit of an introduction episode. Within the first few days, I got numerous comments from you guys just saying that, you know, you're happy I'm back and that, you know, you're looking forward to the series. So thank you very much for that and all the support on the other videos as well. If you can continue the support, I can obviously see this being one of my best, you know, sort of series on the channel, no matter what. So looking forward to continuing. It's going to be a very long-term series as well. So yeah, guys, if you could hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be much appreciated. And for your own sake, turn the post notifications on, and that'll keep you up to date with all these in the future. Apart from that, guys, take it easy and goodbye.